Happy Sunday. Well, it's not Sunday, but I'm going to be abroad, so we're recording this Friday night. We're going to do our best to recap the week as it's happened so far. Hopefully, nothing massive happens Saturday or Sunday beyond just Counter-Strike getting played, and this episode doesn't age too poorly. Of course, I did mention this to members. I forgot to put the post up for the member Q&A for the last episode, so we're doing it in this one. That'll be the first segment of this one. Following that, we'll get into EPL, we'll get into some transfers, we'll get into prospects of the week, we'll do all that good stuff. But of course, before we start the main show, we have to quickly remind you, this show is brought to you by the members. Members get access to a bunch of cool stuff, notably prospect demos, behind the scenes for Retake the Week, interviews with coaches and other members of the scene. They get access to the member Q&A, and yeah, majority of the big videos early. If they're not recorded the day they have to come out. They get access to all that stuff for $2 a month. So please feel free to join up. It's basically a second channel of slightly lower effort content that I have running for members only. And yeah, it'd be awesome to have you there. Quacke, you have a show to promote. There's been another episode. How's that going?
It was going good. Look, there's not a big name. Before we had Robin and Pita, which was amazing to speak to some legends, but another purpose of this show is to platform some people I think maybe haven't had that same platform in the past. So for this third episode, we've talked to Puffin. Some of you might know about Puffin. He was an investigative writer. Now he works with an agency. And he broke a lot of the big stories in Counter-Strike, to be honest, across the past 4 years. Basically doing similar things to what Richard Lewis was doing on a slightly smaller scale. It was everything from a lot of Danish roster leaks, which is perhaps the more interesting thing that I'm more interested in. But also, he was one of the guys. He actually reported on the fact that Hunden would get his ESIC ban removed a full year before it happened. Like it just took a year to finalize it, but like he was there, and like when the decision was made, he reported on it. So yeah. Yeah, that was a very interesting chat. We talk a lot about journalism. We talk a lot about roster leagues. We talk about stuff like Harumi and Overdrive. It is also the first episode we recorded, which you can tell.
Oh, is it?
But go give it a watch. Go give it a watch. Yeah, it is. It's not one we put out for the big views, which is no surprise. I know it's not a headline. It's not a headline which grabs your attention, perhaps, but it's a very interesting chat, and I think you are going to enjoy it. The next episode, we're back to Counter-Strike players.
The next episode is the one I've been looking forward to, isn't it? It's the one I've been constantly pestering you about for like, at this point, almost 2 months. Am I right? Like, that is the next. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, Puffin, he's a guy I've spoken to before. He's a guy that's like been in Discords that I've been in, and I've seen some of his articles. Like, he's a pretty cool dude, but he's not like, obviously, a big clickbait name.
No.
But no, I mean, I'll probably give that a listen. I'm going to have a lot of time of travel coming up. Going to and from Italy. I'll try and download that episode. Give it a good listen on the flight.
I can actually plug a couple of things more. I've been streaming quite a bit recently. Well, I've done it twice, but we did. I was covering some advanced playoff games for a team called Molotov Gaming, so I'm going to plug my Twitch actually for once. Quacke CS. I might actually go big on that for once. Because we had a lot of fun. They were HLTV covered. I actually hit 1,000 unique viewers yesterday, which was pretty damn crazy. By the time this comes out, there's going to have been another game yesterday, and there might be another one. If they beat Anonymous, there might be another one, which I will probably cover. But yeah, and then another thing I can plug, I'm wearing Elite Clan merch. It just arrived today. And I'm not obligated to say this, but I think you should go buy it because it is very comfortable. It's the same producers as the Medisport one, which you bought.
Oh, that shit was sick.
Yeah, it is the same production. This is actually the same model of shirt, but it's a different branding, a different motif. You can use code Violet or Velamo, which is the name of our women's and male teams for 15% off. And you can see some pictures of that on my Twitter.
Right. Yeah, awesome. Let's should we get into the actual Q&A then?
Go ahead.
All right. The first question is a question that, for those of you who have access to behind the scenes, you will know we spent most of 20 minutes bickering about it because...
And then another 20 minutes after we hit
after we stopped recording. Basically, the question is, who is your prospect of the year so far? And by itself, an innocuous question. The problem is prospect makes it all about prospects for me, which is where I arbitrarily decide what player does and doesn't count. I will say,
which is bullshit.
For me, It counts for me. But it is my show, so I say what I say goes for my show. But yeah, so prospect of the year so far, I picked somewhat controversially, according to Quacke, NPL, who has, let's just say, been reborn in Bait as an entirely new person who definitely never played for Na'Vi in Tier 1 Counter-Strike and is therefore very valid as a pick for prospects, hence why he was in his own prospects video only a month and a half ago. NPL, yeah, been the best writer on his team, been the caller for his team, which is something I didn't know halfway through writing my damn script. Not even close. I was close to finishing the script for that video. Then I find out just in a Discord chat he's been calling. I was like, okay, I had to add a whole section just for that. Yeah, the guy's been a beast this year. He's led Bait, not to Tier 1. It's been quite a slow grind up since they had brought in Head Trick and got themselves going. But they are going to be at the RMR for EU, and I can't wait to watch them and see where he takes them.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I think out of the prospects you have done, he is the obvious pick. He's an excellent pick for that, for sure. I just have a hard time putting him as a prospect because I'm just going to put some context for you guys here. Some of the players that the Kingt disqualified in the behind the scenes content as non-prospects were Molbs MD with one big event prior to 2024.
He's on G2. He's on G2.
He had one big event prior to 2024. He's played 5 this year. He disqualified Insani of MIBR fame for just occasionally qualifying for a big event and going out last. The vibes. He is about to disqualify the guy I'm going to pick as well.
It depends on.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. While NPL played for 7 months on Na'Vi in the same positions he does now, while he played them differently, the same positions, a lot of them, in 5 big events, 4 of which he made playoffs. I'm just going to say it, including a major.
Simple made playoffs.
Yeah, all right. The person I've picked is not NPL. I was going to pick Mobs because I think under the categories you have outlined for me, Mobs qualifies and I would have picked him, but I'm going to pick Lukowski actually because he has played an excellent year. And this is a bit of a gamble because there's a good chance by the time this comes out he's signed to MIBR, which makes them a very good team.
That's up and coming on the show as like one of the total shuffle things. Okay, Lukowski, yes, okay, yes, I would have disqualified him if you'd brought him up pre-show. Because he fits the one category I kind of arbitrarily decide I enforce with some sort of rigidity, which is the age limit. But I don't care. Take it. Take the
he fits my age limit. Mine is 22, and I think that's. I think he qualifies for that.
That's a whole he's played to me, but yeah.
He's played a blast finals event by bullshitting his way through the Americas Showdown when there was still an Americas Showdown. Surprise, they changed it. Surprise, they changed that afterwards. There was no more America's Showdown. He has played in what I would call 2 majors. You would call it 0 majors because he was in the challenger stage with 2 different teams. And I would borderline could disqualify him for it, but I think he has always been a prospect, which is why he has always been worth $300,000 in Brazil. So I think I think. It's a bit of a gamble. He might come out, but he's had an excellent year, and he's going to keep having an excellent year. Shout out to Mobs. Shout out to Nota. Oh, he also, two people.
We can do some honorable mentions, but there's obviously Mobs on
two people T wanted to include were Dumao was one of them. He didn't want to include Lato because he was too old. He's 21. Yeah. But Dumao, he wanted to include, who has been in Tier 1.
Include for consideration. I would never pick him because I find Brazilian players hard to pick in prospects in general because of Brazilian play being sus. But he's not high on my list of who would I've actually picked. Like
he was in top 20 for over 50 maps on 2 different teams. I'm just gonna say it.
That's cool.
I think that's a hard to contrast that to someone like Nota, for example.
Yeah, Nota's a pure prospect. He's 17, hasn't played Tier 1 in any context. He's never made a run through a crappy qualifier. To be fair, he's Russian, playing in Russian teams. There is no easy way through right now to playing Tier 1 Counter-Strike. You have to be grinding and then somehow outperform a bunch of other equally bonkers players just to get a chance on a team. Like, it's ridiculous, that scene. And Nota is a beast. He was a real consideration for Prospect of the Year. That's true. But I'm just going to remind you, Quack, the reason I get to make arbitrary choices is just one thing, one category, one distinct permission. And that's, God has crowned me. My right is divine. And as king of prospects, I decide who the hell makes it on that list and who doesn't. So yes, if I want to arbitrarily disqualify Insani, just on the basis of vibe, I'm going to do it. Call me a mad king if you want, but my power comes from on high.
Oh my god, yeah. He sits on the throne.
Let me put my headset on so I actually hear what the hell you're saying.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a Game of Thrones reference there, but I haven't finished the series, so I don't know.
Oh, are you talking books or TV show?
The show, of course. I'm not a nerd.
Maybe you like reading now, bro. You write about Counter-Strike all week. You are a freaking nerd.
Yeah, I just finished season 7. I'm about to watch 8.
Oh, you poor soul. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, I'm now wondering who has. You picked NPL. Let me see. How many big event maps does NPL have?
Oh, who gives it? 40, next question.
49.
Next question.
Donk has 9 more big event maps in his career than NPL.
Yeah, different. Next question.
3 more.
Next question. Those are important maps, man. Next question. That first question, I'm sorry, we didn't even mention who it's from. Apologies. That was from...
Half of the NPL maps are playoffs in big events.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. We all know it's different. We all know it's different. All right. That was from Vondice9562. Usually a reliable source of good questions, actually. All right. Is a top 5 level French team possible right now? From Zed, but not dead. Pulp Fiction reference, I assume. Top 5 possible. I mean, I'm assuming we're just taking any French pieces we want, mash them into a team, and seeing if that can make top 5. Then I'd have to say probably, because 4Shitters and Zaiwu kind of was top 5 before. You probably got a decent level if you're picking 5 French players right now. I mean, the 4 besides Zaiwu, it's going to be a combination of Apex and like 3 3D Max players, probably. Yeah,
maybe not even that. I think maybe you could go further down.
Yeah, maybe like a Netu gets involved.
Yeah.
But in terms of reliably playing it in like, big events, like let's say if you're making this team, you basically say Apex, you have yourself and Zaiwu, pick 3 French players up. Maybe Body gets taken over some of the 3D Max guys, but otherwise I don't see it being anyone else personally. But I think it probably is top 5 just because it's Zaiwu.
I think the thing is that when we did Vitality the first time 5 years ago, Zaiwu needed solid shitters around him who could set him up and everything. These days he is more of a player on his own. You don't need shitters around him anymore. So I think you could literally just pick like some of the best French players and put them around him. Like you don't. But yeah, I mean, I think Nature could be one. There's a couple for sure. I think someone like Joko could be considered. I think Apex needs to be there. I couldn't think of a.
Yeah.
If Body's going to be there, I don't think Body brings enough to the table if he's not calling, and you already have Apex, who, honestly, in 2024, Apex is one of the best in-game leaders in the world right now. So,
yeah,
it's hard. Yeah, so I think Apex has to be there.
I'm just going to put a 5. I'm going to throw a 5 down. Just going to throw this down, like an actual.
I'm not going to put a 5. I couldn't put a 5, but you can do it. Yeah.
I'm going to take a shot at this because I think I want Apex and I do want Body, and I know these two are going to be fairly demanding in their roles. Like they're going to want to do a lot of stuff. Apex especially. So I think the solution you then have to do is, if you're taking 2 3 max players, I'd take Exercise and Lucky. Now, like most people on paper are going to look at the numbers or look at these guys and think they're a bit shit. But no, they're just not particularly aggressive, and I don't think they're going to take away from what Apex is going to want to do to be comfortable to call. Because we know Apex can't just sit in a bomb site, play fucking anchor spots, and be an IGL. Like, it just doesn't seem to compute in his head. So I think we need solid decision makers, supportive players. who understand high-level gameplay and can com well. And I think those are the guys. I think those two are the guys I'd want wrapping up that team. I think we end up with like what? Yeah, we have basically currently 2 active IGLs, 2 supports pretty much, and Zywoo. But I think that's a formula that just wins you enough games. Like,
Yeah, it's just a vitality region.
shockingly,
I guess.
Shockingly, yeah.
I guess maybe I wonder if you could justify putting Zaibu in a rifle and putting someone like Maka in, because Maka's had a great year.
He's had a great year. Yeah.
He's the only one you could put in on the op road, because the alternative is Afro.
Yes. Which no, thank you, no. I think keep it like that. Keep Zywoo on the AWP. Maybe actually kick him in the arse and tell him to AWP a little more. But I think that team's solid. Top 5, yeah, scrape it probably, given how other teams probably have better rifle players alongside decent AWPers. But I think that's a decent roster. All right. Next question, I'm assuming, is full serious, and we will treat this as such. Why do you have so much junk in your trunk? Now, do you want to answer this first, Quack, or do you want me to lead on this?
I have no junk in my trunk.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so why do I have so much junk in my trunk? Step 1 is I eat. Yeah, it's not actually very complicated. I eat a lot, and I eat good. And the second part is heavy squats and deadlifts. It's not that complicated a formula. It's just really hard to just keep on doing it for most people. But if you believe in yourself, if you try your hardest, you apply yourselves, you can all have junk in your trunks. So thank you, Snay196, for your question. I definitely have no idea who you are. Right. Next question. It's from Munster, and yeah, it's a rather depressing question. I agree with your demeanor. Chances only Pixel becomes a major coach, in your opinion. Brackets, I think very real. Fuck me. I love the phrasing. Quack, I've seen you have this conversation, I think, not too long ago. What do you think the odds are that this Onapixel side makes it out of the Asia RMR?
I think they have decent shots, honestly. I think they have a decent chance, because I think these players can show up, and they're playing some teams with very, very... it's not solid all of the time. I think there's holes in a lot of the teams. There's only 1 or 2 I would lock in, but there's 3 spots. So at that point, honestly, anything could happen. But I wouldn't give them huge odds. I think yeah. I think it also depends on what the fuck do they mean by being a coach. Because One is they went to boot camp. He was not there. One was not at the boot camp. I don't think that's a coach. So and I wonder if, could he register himself as a coach for the lols and just stand behind them and be like, yes, was, and just do all of his own stuff during the games? Yeah, could he do that? Could he do that?
Obviously, yeah. They need a coach. If they have a coach listed for the roster, roster locks, it could be him.
What I'm just wondering is there any obligation that the coach might have which he could, or doesn't want to fulfill? Is it too much responsibility? Because as far as I know, he's just a financier who's just here to, for vibes.
Well, if I assume he is going to be behind them, which I assume is the premise of the question as well, I think it would be hilarious. The better conversation to have is just, would they make it out of the SRMR?
Yeah.
I think Mongols are obviously better. FlyQuest should be better. Lin Vision, shockingly, have been pretty competent at Pro League. I'm not saying they're amazing. I still think they'd be better with Starry. But man, they've actually won some maps here and there, which is something I expect them to not do. Honestly, I expect them to just go straight home without even giving anyone a fight. So, the fact they take a map off of Heroic, they take a map off of FlyQuest and make map 3 go to overtime, they're probably better than I give them credit for. They probably should be better than Drillers. Rare Atom should be better than Drillers based on the fact that they beat Tyloo and nothing else, unfortunately. There's not much more I can give as support.
Yeah, because this roster is a mishmash of a bunch of players. It's not something which inspires. Just as well as they showed up to beat Tyloo, they just as well could completely fall apart against Drillers on LAN. We know absolutely fuck all.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I have no idea.
We can't guarantee anything from either of these Chinese teams. That's the worrying part. Because
Drillers could beat FlyQuest.
Yeah, we can't rely on FlyQuest to beat everyone. They can barely beat Lin Vision right now. We can't really rely on the Chinese teams to be consistently good. We know players like Zaka are actually pretty talented and pretty decent. But overall, the way they play, the other pieces have a tendency to fluctuate. So Drillers, I'd give them a... Honestly, I think it's like a 1 in 3 that they make it. They have to outperform 2 notoriously out of 3 inconsistent rosters. I'll give them a 1 in 3 chance of doing it, essentially.
I think that's not a bad shot. I think something around there, yeah. I'd give them less than 50%, but it's probably close enough where if I was betting on this, I would probably still bet yes, to be honest.
Yeah, the odds would probably be tasty, right? On the on the make through. I mean, got to give credit to like Fem and Waro, and of course to Haji for keeping that other passport. That's the real MVP of them making the major. If they do, is Haji's dual citizenship. But yeah, Kvem and Waro, obviously solid players in like tier 2 to 1.5. Waro even in tier 1, we've seen some like runs that have been impressive. So yeah, the fact that they stomped through the Middle East qualifier, as we said last week or the week before, basically a given and kind of cheesy. But
I think they will bring everything to the table. Like and Haji and Amsalem can play a great event, both of them. Mestal as well.
We've seen decent stuff from Amsalem, yeah.
Yeah, Haji has a career of like some ups, and this could be an up. So like
the level is low enough for it to be a Haji up. Yeah, you're fair.
Has a t-shirt stuff. Yeah, he has had a career of some ups.
Some ups.
And this could be an up.
He's an accountant.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Yeah.
I mean, technically, we do have to factor in that alter ego and talent on their day. I think can beat Drillers. I'm just not going to rely on it. So I think that pretty much wraps up the Asia RMR odds talk there. All right, finally, a question from some weirdo. I don't know. This guy, he shows up to my on my PC every Sunday. I think he's hacking, getting his webcam feed here. But all right, which new team will make headway in 2025, and which old team will fall out? And that's been asked by Quacke. And now, because Quacke asked this question, I can now ask him to clarify what the fuck he means, because I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. What's a new team? Do I have to invent a team for 2025? Is it a new team that's this year? What does this mean?
What someone to break into tier 1? I could have clarified that in the question.
Someone
to
to
be
break
honest.
team and then someone to fall out.
Because we talked last year, it was a big talk. It was one of the big talks around the Paris Major. Was that we saw so many tier 2 teams break in, and like this, what happens when you let them qualify for big stuff? They upset because Into the Breach were actually legit, like that sort of stuff. Now they have a fair shot to make that happen in 2025. Teams like that, who's actually going to do it? Like, are Monty gonna make resurgence? Are Sangal gonna break into here? Like,
yeah, okay.
Could Saw be a mainstay, or are they just someone who fluked the Cologne playoffs?
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good question. Once you explained
and the inverse, who is hanging on by a thread of ESL ranking right now? Yeah. Who won't be able to in 2025?
Unfortunately, until let me think about it.
I have an idea who I think is falling out. I think Furia are pretty much locked in to fall out.
Just explain everything you think about that whilst I look through my tier 2 boys and think who I'm going to promote.
Furia are already close to like the cutoff of what would stop them getting invites if they were if we were in 2025 right now. Based on world ranking, they could still make it in on American ranking, but the thing is, as soon as you're out of that window, it's quite hard to break back in. You actually need to perform, even if it is still open. We do have a lack of open qualifiers in the events announced just yet. So
yeah,
you do still the at least for the first couple of months, maybe even the first season, we're still going to see most of the same teams to stay at the top, pretty much no matter how they perform, unless they completely go EG mode. But Fury are already quite close to that cutoff, and they haven't really had an inspiring performance in a long time. So I think they are very close to that. I think Virtus Pro are nearing it. In the Valve ranking, Virtus Pro are already 15th. Yeah, so they have a good chance of falling out. I would have said Falcons, of course, if they weren't getting Nico, which seems to be a done deal as of last week. So I would probably say those. If I'm talking about my break-ins, I think Pain is a legit one. We talked about this last week. I don't think they are in the territory that they say they are, but I think they are towards the end of the upper end of the Americas ranking, which is obviously nice for invites. I think they in the Americas, as in North and South, I think they could probably hang in
Yeah,
the
they're
top
currently
four.
number 2, so
Yeah,
not,
and I
not
think they
crazy.
definitely could stay within the top 4 across the whole year. I think they could do that. So even with stuff like wildcard or MAT post mobs, I guess, but even with those teams, I think they could hang there. Talking 9Z is kind of the same, and I think European, it's hard to pick anyone. I think Saw might be there because they are good. I think,
I
but also,
struggle to see a world where Saw can consistently do things. Just
I mean,
because they're so reliant on 2 riflers to be their 2 best players, and I'm talking they have to be like outstanding for them to really win series where they're not, again, dominating the prep. They have to be dominating the prep. But they are in tier 1, but they are so good in tier 2. Like recently, they've qualified for most of everything and really haven't been losing a lot. That they probably have the most consistent opportunity, because that's the tough part for tier 2 teams. It's like in EU, so you've not just got to be a team with like talented players. You've got to be able to peak at the right moments and make it through the marathon, and know when to play loose, know when to play heavily structured, know which teams you actually have to prep for, the ones you don't. And I'm talking out of a lists of like 50, 60 teams that you have to be dealing with a lot of the time. And then you have to go into tier 1 and be like, oh yeah, all of this was legit. We actually do have fraggers who can frag on LAN now. Like, it's so tough for these guys. So I think Saw probably do have a great chance. I want to say next year, I find it hard to imagine that we don't have one of these Russian teams like taking a leap. So I'm gonna just point, not arbitrarily, but I'm gonna point the finger in the way I've been feeling recently, and that's 9 Pandas. I feel like, great IGL, great young riflers, or great young IGL with a lot of promise, young riflers who've been really, really good. An Orpa who's, not, he doesn't set the world on fire. He's not thrilling to me, but he's solid enough for them to not see him as a complete detriment. Like, he doesn't do stupid crap too often. So I think that's a good pick. But also, the one I want to pick, like maybe a challenger to Pain, is MIBR. Because they already have Safe, they already have Insani, and assuming the Lukowski signing, if it happens, isn't an Insani replacement because he's been picked up by someone else, assumptions made, that team just gets even more stacked. I'm hoping he comes in for Breno, for BR Inazan.
Could be, yeah.
And basically takes some of the more hard entry roles, or rather than playing, the more glamorous opening spots. I think that just increased their talent level even higher. And at that point, they could just dominate Pain locally to the point where they just overtake them and make the qualifiers just happen. So that's the teams I would be scared of in the future. Obviously, there's a bunch of rosters like there's some Ukrainian teams I want to support here, but I think a lot of the teams in EU Tier 2 that have my favorite prospects are missing like a full roster that really locks in and gets it right, with enough consistency. We'll see how this RMR goes, because a lot of my favorite teams have made it, but I can't just throw out there as a prediction that Gamer Legion, TSM, Bait, some of my favorite teams, just in terms of the players they have, will take that step and be consistently, making events and, securing their ranking. Because I think it is tough for them currently with the issues they each have separately.
I think Sang.
I struggle to see Sangol. I want them.
The reason
they're promising. There's some things I want to latch onto, but I'm not quite there with them yet.
I think it's hard to find a clear weakness on Sangol at the moment. I think Samay, he said it on the broadcast the other day. Hang on.
Yeah, I heard it's Samay, but I can't see it,
I think he's the only piece that you could properly find a good upgrade on right now, and even then that risks fucking the chemistry. One of the reasons why I think they could make it is because they had such a blistering online season in the past 4 months that they have actually qualified for this event, the RMR, and I think they have a realistic shot of making the major as well, depending on the draw and depending on the seeding. And they have another LAN coming up, because I think they qualified for one of these like Relog or Fisher or whatever, one of those unannounced ones.
Champions in Belgrade.
It was that thing, which I think is even happening next year. So if they finish this season strong enough, they might find themselves they're already 19th, but they might find themselves on a 14th spot in the ranking, which is invite town, baby. You're gonna start getting invites to PGL Astana, and you get to fly to Kazakhstan.
Or like Sky Esports events, which we know have been scheduled to conflict with bigger events. So that's good LAN opportunities. No, they're a fair pick. It's just I think we'll get into them in a bit because they're at Pro League. We're gonna have a Pro League segment. I have some topics to bring up on Sangel. There's a couple in the notes, but I will be talking about Sangel in more depth. But no, I think it's a fascinating discussion. It'll just be fun to watch. I think next year. I think next year's gonna be one of the best years as a viewer, in a long time. I mean, after so many years of like top level Counter-Strike being ruined by the Danes, and then the online period and like the struggles towards the end of CS:GO that there were, some periods of like just low elite competition level. I think next year's going to be great. Like, it'll be peak Counter-Strike, I think. But with that wrapped up, that's the Q&A. Thank you to the members who contributed. Remember, members once a month get to ask questions. There's there's no limit on what you can ask, and there's no limit to how many questions we will answer, but one per person because it gets.
We've had great questions in the past. We've had stuff like every time we say this, we've had questions about football. I love questions about football. you can ask anything.
Yeah, I think guys, he's a Spurs fan. You can ask him anything. He has to answer it.
You can ask me what I think about
league,
fucking
stuff like that.
What's it like? You can ask me about Odobert.
Right, let's talk about Pro League. It's still ongoing. Wildcard just beat Koi 2-0, confirming to me that I wasn't retarded. If I can say that word, I can say that word, it's my show. To back them as a team coming into this event. I picked them on the double swing. And then after their Spirit series, where Donk did everything, literally everything, they still, it was such a close game that without Donk going completely nuclear, they could actually win that game. But since then, they kind of slid down. Beating Koi, good. I wasn't insane. It wasn't all a fluke. It wasn't all illusion, smoke and mirrors, mirage. There's actually something there with Wildcard. But okay, that's not the team we want to focus on first. Let's kick off with, obviously, the man who's on the thumbnail, because I've already made the thumbnail ahead of time, because
Me?
Rush. You are on the thumbnail, but it's not you. There's another person on the thumbnail, and he's making a slightly mean mug, angry face, because I photoshopped it. It's Donk. He did some redonkulous stuff. Insane, that performance, specifically against Wildcard, breaking the single map frag record within regulation for 38 kills. I watched that series in its entirety, because I haven't been able to with every series that's gone on this week, partially due to them being on to at the time. But I watched the entirety of this, and I felt kind of bad for Wildcard, because every time they killed him, they could do whatever they wanted. And a lot of the times when they were to even completely avoid him for like 90% of the round, got everything working, and then they got to his site, they'd manipulated everything, and then he just got a triple kill, and it was fucked. It was just wrecked. What an insane series he had. But after that, slightly slowed down. Still great. Still, 1.42 against MIBR. Goes down against Mongols, 1.42 again. Beats 3D Max just a little while ago, 1.53. But something that came apparent to me is that Spirit, sure, they will always be able to rely on Donk most of the time. That we had that exception at Cologne where they lost and they got nothing out of Donk, nothing out of Shiro. But I think a very important player to their like dominance, like when they're looking insane, is Zontix. I think on T side especially, he takes like weirdly important early fights, and like he's got a lot of reactive lurks, which are, when they net opening kills or when he doesn't die, the team are great. But when he dies, sometimes they just look lost. Like they're scrambling for info, aren't sure how to use themselves. It's why I think that Mongol series was mostly close, because he didn't have the greatest start. Like, if I'm thinking back, I'm going to look at the numbers just to make sure I'm not going crazy. Yeah, he was dreadful on Ancient, and that's the map they lose. And I think that's becoming a theme for me, is that Zontix, he's young, he's inexperienced, he's not the mega talent that Donk is. I think him finding consistency will make this team overall more consistent in future, because there's something about it when he's not finding info or finding impact, whichever one it is, they just struggle.
I think Zontix is maybe the pivot point, the hinge on the team in terms of how they perform. They do have a bit of a rough go of it. I'm actually going to check the numbers if that does check out. I think it would do. Donk beat the kill record in CS2 on one of the maps against Wildcard.
Yeah, it was on Ancient. In
38
regulation,
in 12.
38 kills, yep. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because if he just chills the fuck out by like 4 frags, wildcard win that map. So yeah, it also dropped 37 on Nuke, which is also in overtime.
Yep.
To be fair, but he was still like equally as much ahead of his teammates, except for Zero. Like it was overtime, but Chopper, Magisk, and Zontix, they didn't really exactly improve over on their ancient tally, even if they did have another 6 rounds to go with or whatever. Yeah, I am gonna check if that actually could be true, because that was just a straight carry, but it's against
Zontix, yeah, they
wildcard.
can win when Zontix isn't, when Zontix is struggling, they can still win, but they will never be dominant when Zontix is off. It's very specifically him. I found like
people. Do you think there's a practical reason for that aside from just he is not good enough,
or that he's not consistent?
Yeah, more so. Why the team, why he's doing so much for the team, even if he might not be. I'm thinking people talk a lot about his play style. People talk about the fact that he always aims for the dick. Like he never aims.
Doesn't. He just doesn't. That's the most nonsense thing I've watched.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that Vu video. He doesn't do it, but yeah.
Aim for the dick. Is there a Vu video for that as well? There's a Vu video.
There's
for everything
two.
At this point, like
there's two, because Vu did a video about the fact that he doesn't aim at his dick, and then everybody in the replies to that video said actually he does. It's just ignoring this like 10-minute analysis of the fact where he like actually draws out like, here's the crosshair, here's where his head would be. It's literally head height. It's no different to anyone else. And then people were still complaining that he was aiming at his dick. So then he made a joke video where he said, actually, I was wrong. He definitely aims at his dick. And then like for 10 minutes, he shows examples of him not doing that while saying he definitely aims at his dick. Anyway, that was a big tangent. I'm just wondering, because the obvious name people float around is Perfecto for a potential Spirit Roster chain in future. Yeah. Fits Zontix's roles nigh on perfectly, I think.
Is he as weirdly active on T side?
Absolutely think he could be. Could
he be? Yes, probably.
I think on the last Cloud9 roster, he absolutely showed that he could do that, because I think he did do that as well.
To a certain level. It wasn't great.
Yeah. Anyway, the difference is, like, does that actually change anything? Or have you just got a slightly more consistent performer at that point? Like, which might change a lot of things, but, I don't know. I think it's interesting. We are going to see Spirit in playoffs. They just made it through 3D Max, but literally all of their games, bar the wildcard game, which was close enough to practically consider it a 2-1. Like, you could, that very, very, very realistically could have been a 2-1. It was literally, Donk had to do something nobody has ever done in CS2 to not make it a 2-1.
Not make it a 2-0 loss, almost. Like,
yeah. All of their other games have been 2-1s, and they have not played a single good team. Period.
No. They lost 2-1 to MIBR. They beat Mongols 2-1. I mean, Mongols are decent, but they're not, Spirit should be beating top 10, top 5 level teams 2-1. Like, they should be able to smash Mongols most days. They shouldn't be dropping maps to 3D Max, even if it is Anubis.
Yeah, they had the easiest group. Guys. They had the easiest group, because they would have, the first time they even could beat G2 or could play G2 was when they were already in playoffs. It was a seeding game. Everybody else had like FaZe Eternal Fire was a potential, upper semifinal match, and NIP Navi or Heroic Navi, that's another one. You have, let's see, in the upcoming group, you have stuff like,
Mouse has the easiest group. I'm going to put it this way.
Yeah, okay, they have the easiest
Mouse,
group.
you'd say they have the easiest. But no, out of A and B, yes, they have a pretty easy group. They have a lot of layup games that they just didn't make look like layups. Like, they made them very awkward and rough sort of matchups. It wasn't pretty.
And they still make 2-1s in, or 1-2s even against MIBR. It's Yeah,
it's not.
It's very messy. It's very messy.
It's not great. But no, if they have, as I was saying, when Zontix is on though, that's when they just 13-3, 13-4. Like, that's the sort of result they get when Zontix is on. They actually do have one-sided maps when he's finding his impact and not taking silly deaths. So that's Spirit at this event. Donk obviously bonkers. But FaZe, a team I was worried about, obviously. They dropped their opening series to Sangirl. Who wouldn't be worried? As a picker of FaZe, who wouldn't be worried? But they did kind of recover it. straight away after that, 2-0 FlyQuest, good. 2-1 NIP, a little shakier than wanted, but good. And then 2-0ing Sangal, putting the rest, like the doubts to bed. At that point, they win the rematch. It's all good. It's just opening series stuff. Let's be honest. They managed to bring it back afterwards. Sangal, we'll talk about Sangal in a bit, but FaZe more importantly. Yeah, they made it through. That was all we wanted, really, wasn't it? Like, you make it to playoffs at Pro League. 4 teams make it out of each group. They give you so much leeway as a top team. They had to do it, and they managed it. That's all I can really say at this point. They recovered.
It was entirely predictable, and everybody said so on Twitter after Sangal actually won. You can go back to the last episode. I literally say exactly this would happen. I say, verbatim, here's the quote. Sangal could absolutely win in the opening matchup, and FaZe would fall to the lower bracket and make it through in one of the lower seeds. Bada bing, bada boom. They are 3rd seed in their group. They're going to start in the top 16, the first playoff game, as the higher seeded team there. Great game from Sangal. We're going to talk about them later. Yeah. I don't think the FaZe stumble is at all unpredictable.
It's the Frozen show. Like, currently, right now, it's really a Frozen show. Like, we had a good map or two from Robs. Like, I know against Sangal, he had a crazy 1v3 that actually had me, like, screeching in my PC. Like, I was just, like, sat on my desk, like, what have I just watched? But mostly it was the Frozen show. Rain had a great series against Sangal specifically, but yeah. This is Frozen's team right now. Hopefully
FaZe
they can
FaZe keep playing close against FlyQuest. Sorry, I interrupted you there. I just realized FaZe keep playing it very close against FlyQuest.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they're a team they should beat, so they can never just beat them,
Yeah.
It seems to be FaZe.
And then, of course, the obligatory NIP 2-1, where NIP disappear on the 3rd map. Yeah, I mean, this is literally scripted. This is every FaZe event.
They never change. Never change FaZe.
No.
Right. Let's summarize some other teams a little quicker. Eternal Fire and Na'Vi go through off the back of basically rifle beasts. Like Xantares for Eternal Fire was outstanding their 2 series that they needed to win to make playoffs. And then Na'Vi, crushed Linvision, crushed NIP. Immer topping the score charts. I mean, finally, we can say it with because he's done it a couple of events now. This is the Immer that they were supposed to get out of Gamer Legion. And I'm not sure what exactly the adjustments have been to get him more consistent. Maybe it is purely his comfort, but awesome to see that. And of course, always nice to see Xantares making playoffs at a real event, despite being hamstrung by his dedication to playing on Turkish teams.
Eternal Fire literally flew in from Betboom Dacha in Belgrade, literally like the day before. I think they came in for the media day, and then they had a match day, and I think they even had the first game of the day. So even more impressive. I mean, sure, they're favorites in both of their games, but impressive still, nonetheless. They play a better game against FlyQuest than FaZe did, if you're talking around.
They took them apart, yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's always easier to win series when you have like a really aggressive rifler who's just going to put in the work, put rounds to bed pretty instantly, and that's what Xantares did.
Last event we also talked about Quacke a lot, and Quacke, I mean, in the Sangal series that was a stomp, and he was one of the big stompers next to Xantares, but he was solid. Like, he was solid against FlyQuest as well. And tomorrow is the big test. It's a seeding game. It doesn't really matter.
It's important for them, I think. They need to win this because like that gets them closer. They have to win fewer series to actually make a deep run at this event, like officially. They're going to want to win this game. They need all the seeding points they can get, really, coming into next year. Like, just to wrap up this season. Like, they want to keep accumulating these things. So I'm thinking they should be invested. They should look to win. And Quacke, I said this on the double swing with Thorin when we previewed these groups. I picked Eternal Fire, and I did say, like, this is not super inconsistent, stupid decision Quacke of the past. Like, despite his stint as IGL on this, for this org, really, not being that impressive, he still seems to have come out the other side like just a slightly more reasonable player. Not necessarily a genius, not particularly smart, but at least reasonable in the decisions he makes. And yeah, he's able to be consistent. That's great to see. Dumpstered Sangal, I mean, the AWP v AWP matchup. No offense, Samey or Sam A. It just sounds like I'm doing a silly accent when I'm saying Samey to me, but no offense, Sam A, you're just not that guy. I expected Quacke to win this one, and he did. But yeah, that's pretty cool to see. Hopefully they can. Yeah, I think they can upset. They've got a chance to upset Na'Vi here, just because Na'Vi may take the foot off the gas, like take it a little easier. They don't really have to worry as much about exact seeding. They're probably favorites into every playoff matchup that isn't with Spirit. Yeah. Maybe Vitality, depending on how they play in groups. So I'm really excited to see that. Just before I move on, I do want to see the AWP kills matchup, like AWP v AWP. It was only 4-2 in the favor of Woxic. Okay. Nowhere near as interesting as I thought it'd be. But still, a small relevant story.
Yes.
All right. Now we're talking about your favorite team now.
Subheading of this podcast. A small relevant story.
It's your favorite team, Sangor. They beat FaZe. They beat Heroic. They're now playing FlyQuest Saturday for a chance to go into the 4th place decider against probably NIP, but we'll see who actually comes out of that. First, they got to beat FlyQuest. For me, 2 more series to get it there. And the key, I'm just going to throw out there, for me is Jota. I'm not trying to say he's the best player. For me, it's just the way he plays, the plays he makes, the things he goes for in like mid and late rounds. If he pulls it off, you win rounds. If he doesn't, you lose rounds. That's really how it feels. Like, it's the key is him getting it right. Like, xCloud's going to be aggressive, and in most series, he's going to get the most kills. He's going to get a lot of openings. It's just about Jota either capitalizing or not squandering opportunities. Like just being that sort of guy who takes a risk, tries to convert rounds quickly. Like, if he gets it right, I think Sangor got a great chance to upset and make it through.
Yeah, I think another key is I expect them to beat FlyQuest.
I'd put money on it, yeah.
I think another key is they should play Heroic in the next one. I think Heroic have been abysmal so far, and that is a repeat game for them. They've already won that once in this event.
Yep.
NIP played pretty bad on the final map against FaZe, but I think they still played decent enough in all of their previous matches. Even the Heroic game was fucking awful, but and they wouldn't have won that. They wouldn't have won that because they do lose the first map and then it gets overturned because Tesla had SnapTap on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll have a whole little discussion about that, but yeah.
Oh, nice. But
it's
yeah,
in the notes.
Yeah, I didn't see that actually. I missed that. But I think both of those, even if they play NIP, I think that's a very doable series. I think both those teams are very weak. I think no matter who they play, they have a realistic chance of making it through. It's still an upset, but it's one. Once again, I'd probably give it not too far below 50% chance of happening. So I could absolutely see them in playoffs. From there, it's fucking anyone's game, to be honest. Like, it could very well end in the first game. They could make it all the way into the quarterfinal, if I'm being completely honest. It really all depends on the draw. It depends on how people feel on the day.
Yeah, with a bracket like this, it is very draw heavy. So you could end up with like a random big team who kind of have to make it out of the low seeds, a FaZe like sort of idea. Or if they get matched up with a team who truly is like the 20th best team at the event, hey, take a shot. You might make another round. Like, that's interesting. So no.
Yeah.
They have to beat 3D Max first, but that's wildcard. Holy crap, I was just looking at the wrong team. They have to beat FireQuest first. We do believe they will. After that, yeah, probably Heroic's the matchup, but you never know. Both teams have been very consistent, so I'm rooting for them. Out of this group, I'm rooting for them to make it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they have a good chance. I think they have very solid players. You talk about Jota. Jota is very big, of course, for them. xCloud is also very big, but he doesn't really bring up the rear in the same sense that like he can make up for the slack that Jota might have, because xCloud wasn't doing much in the series against FaZe. I mean, he was doing his job, but on the whole, he was one of the worst rated players. It was the Jota show, statistically.
Yeah, so if you think about what I'm explaining there, with the whole Jota, like making those risks, taking the risks. Against FaZe, it was mostly like making up 4v5s rather than, converting already close to 1 rounds. It was more like, he reversed the odds. He made really sick plays. So when the opening ideas weren't working, it was him. Youngster also probably actually gets a lot of credit for some of the maps. Like, I feel like Anubis. Youngster was great on Anubis. So I remember he was really good on Anubis, and a part of that was also, late round, things are close, or they're a man down, they needed a multi-kill. He was able to deliver a lot. So no, they had those two guys really show up when they needed against the FaZe team.
Yeah, and if Youngster shows up for Ancient as well, he gave up a lot of those openings, I feel like. I haven't checked the stats, but it definitely felt that way watching. If he shows up on Ancient, they close that 2-0, which is even better. But yeah, they do end up winning Nuke as well. Youngster finishing with a 3k spray down and finds a 4k in the end there. I remember that run. Yeah, they're doing great. All of them. And I think it's the thing with Jota is that now in the rematch, Jota was nowhere, and xCloud was instead putting up a great performance, but that's not enough to win the game. So yeah, I think everybody on the team do an excellent job. I think Samay has been slacking a little bit. Statistically, he's the worst rated player, which maybe you shouldn't be as the opper, but it's also,
No, you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be, but it's I think it's still something they can work with, especially, it's still something they can work around, especially when you have someone like Jota or someone like xFlood. Even Youngster, I do talk about him like being one of those guys who shows up when he needs to. He's big in those playoff games, and he's big in those. I think in the last chance bracket, he might have a fire up his ass. I don't know how that's going to impact their performance, but yeah, and also like LNZ and Jumpy need to be talked about on this team as well, because
we do tend to mostly bicker about the riflers, like back and forth is our conversation typically, but no, I think Linus, I think NIP should be kicking themselves. But
absolutely,
he's not their IGL. I've said this for a lot of players, really, see that NIP should be kicking themselves for not having. But I keep pointing this out, like their timeline. If you think of like Isak, Wrinkle, Maxter, 23, 19, 20. Like, sure, it's not a win now move in your mind if you're NIP to have a 21-year-old IGL with these guys. But my God, is it just better for like your prospects if you don't have
Mouse are managing it.
Just too old. Like, yeah, Miles are managing fine with a 21-year-old IGL. Like, why couldn't you have taken that risk? I
think they have what LNZ really. People say that LNZ has really made a development this year. People inside the team, and Jumpy also came in the middle of that stint and also made them, take a big leap. And I think the way Jumpy has improved LNZ with the wealth of experience he has, previous coach of Fnatic, of course, North as well.
I want to interview him for members, actually. Like, he's on my list of guys I'm trying to reach out to, because I think he'd be fascinating.
He would be a prime lead speak guest as well. So, Jumpy, you should give me a DM. And yeah, but yeah, something that's also really impressive to me about Linus is that he also brings his game individually. Like he plays a good game. He's not a star player, but like he's not a Kerrigan by any means.
He's had some really good fragging maps. Like he's like most of the last series they played, he had some crazy maps. Like
yeah, and this is exactly
maps, but yeah.
This is exactly how he's played online as well. He didn't really do much against FaZe in the first matchup, but he's still putting his numbers, and of course all of their stats will get weighed down by the Eternal Fire series where they get smashed. But yeah, the Heroic series, I mean, he's there with a 0.91 in a 3-mapper with close maps. That's respectable, I think. And then against FaZe, even now with the loss, that's another 0.91 in a 2-map loss, one of them being a blowout. Like, respectable. It's like, I think, and especially in online, I think he probably should be the worst player on the roster. Like, he probably should be, either him or Youngster should be the worst player statistically. But it's not by a big margin. And a lot of the time when the others are lacking, he brings up the slack. That's impressive to me.
Yeah, no, I've been very just generally happy with what I've got out of Linus. If I'm a Sango like coach, GM, whatever, like he's got good fragging out of himself and his players a lot of the time. A lot of rotations look really good. Like they generally play a solid game, so I'm happy with him as an IGL. But let's wrap up with I think the last story that kind of is a bit of a shock or is interesting. MIBR are going straight to playoffs. Now, their opening round matchup with 9Z, I honestly think it's quite predictable. So I think 9Z have taken their curve has flattened. They've massively, peaked, hit that flat, and they're probably on the way down, I think, again. Just because they don't have a great wealth of experience on the roster. The guys have been around a while, but they don't have great tier 1 experience. No great IGL on the team either. It's a lot of fragging and vibes, it feels like, and it's bound to come back down to earth. So that win itself may be predictable. A great series from Safe. But then beating Spirit with Insani showing why he is the man who should replace Yuri. Outstanding. I mean, sure, Spirit have been known to take losses like this before. But I was really excited by the fact they were actually able to convert this. It wasn't just an opportunity that got squandered, close losses, and we could have got them. Especially after that crushing Ancient loss. Like, they could have fallen apart mentally. But they took Nuke, they took Anubis in overtime. Insanely clutch. Amazing play from Insania the whole way through. Shout out to Exit as the fragging IGL on this roster. I believe he's the IGL.
They just moved it to drop.
It just
the
moved
other
to
week.
drop. Oh, okay. It's a recent change.
Yep,
but
just the other
why
week.
sitting in the middle. I was questioning that. That did come up in my head. So no, Exit, former IGL, now just fragging. Maybe he's the one coming out for Luke Halsey if he's no longer calling. But man, what a way to go out. Yeah, immense. So they're making playoffs. Great for them.
That was another classic Dust 2 US funny headline, which is another one of those when they made the IGL change. I am gonna find it. MIBR drop in as IGL, which was an actual headline they used. It's Ryan. It's Ryan. He does that stuff. Anyway, yeah, they play a very good game, and they do have a player potentially coming in, very strongly linked to them. Somebody, a star player, who could realistically replace pretty much anyone on the team, skill-wise, except Insani probably. But he could, and the Operol, of course. But like any of the other riflers could probably feel, someone breathing down their neck if they knew this player was coming into the team. I don't know if they have made I think the report was they haven't made a decision who they're gonna replace yet.
Well,
like
it's either, I'd assume there's a decision made. You don't just sign players, then in the moment pick a player to cut. I'm sure there's a plan in place. I'd say the two players who should be worried are Exit and Breno. I want to replace Breno. I just don't think it's worth putting Lucasi in his roles, so I might bring Lucasi in for Exit in that case. If you see what I mean?
Moving the IGL role off of Exit would also line up with that.
Also,
because this Lucasi move has been in the works for a long time. This was reported once before, and then kind of fell out, but now it's apparently still going. The thing about we could talk about that more later if we have anything more to say. But somebody did mention this. I think it was Yanko on Twitter. Said, "Look what happens when you got a flame under your ass. Someone is looking for your job. You're playing for your position on the team, more or less."
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not those guys who are showing up. I mean, it was Exit, sure, but I mean, it's not like Insani and Safe aren't showing up, because they absolutely did. But against 9Z, Safe was big, which was also a big win. I think that was their MIBR's first LAN win against 9Z in like 4 or 5 games, which is big.
How often do they play them at LAN?
I think it might just have been their first win in a while period.
Cologne play in, there you go. Oh crap, yeah, that's a
Cologne play in 9Z1. And then it was Challenger League 9Z1, Challenger League. I am Chengdu qualifier 9Z1, Chengdu qualifier once again 9Z1.
Yeah, I mean, these are
There's
online,
a bunch
but
of
they're important games that you don't want to lose if you're MIBR,
Yeah, absolutely. And it was their first win in 4 games, I think, and the first win of 2024. And they do it in the first time they play each other on LAN. So that's a big win for them. And then the Spirit win is obviously huge. But yeah, I mean, flame up your ass. Someone's coming in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, awesome.
So a bit of pressure is very good. A bit of pressure is very good for a lot of players and for a lot of teams. I think for everybody needs a little bit of pressure. I watched the roundtable from Cologne with JL and Flamesy, and they said exactly this. They lose when there's no pressure, and they need the pressure. The more, like, it's not the more pressure, the more you win, but you need to be afraid. Like, you need to feel like there's repercussions to losing, otherwise you're not going to win. Whether it be potentially losing your position in the team, whether it be getting eliminated, whether it be getting a tougher draw, whatever.
And that's what separates the players from the psychos, because the psychos will just respond, yeah, there's a repercussion, I fucking lost. But okay, yeah, that's why some players aren't all-time greats. Like,
then you have people like
that way.
Then you have Cole Palmer, who is seemingly too dumb to understand that he's under a lot of pressure and just, top scores in Premier League either way.
Oh, he's just vibing playing football. I mean, that man is his IQ is measurable with a Celsius thermometer. So let's not think about him too much. And let's move on to the heroic incident. Because I mean, there's not too much controversy about it. I just think it's worth discussing. It's kind of funny. So I was following this game, and I see the first map finish. I'm like, all right, cool. I then come back to it after a while, and I see the second map finish, and I see Heroic win. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, Heroic 1-2-0. then I had to do a double take when I come back to it, and the scoreline seems to have magically changed compared to what I thought it was going to be. We're playing map 3. So, do you know the timeline of how this went down? Was it literally after map 1, it immediately got reversed? Yeah. Okay.
Because they were on cam in the break, they were filming like the player setups as they do with the player cams and the overhead cams and stuff. And I think it might even have been in like the desk segment when they were talking. The analysts were like, "Why do they look like they've lost?" Because like Nerds was like full Apex, and Tessus was like all red in the face, head in his hands, and they were like, "Why do they look like they've lost them up? They literally just won like 13 whatever." And then eventually comes out we have a technical directive. A heroic player has been caught using SnapTap, and the map has been overturned, as was decided ahead of the event. That was going to be the repercussion if you used it. Supposedly, he had no idea it was on. Some people said he was trying to cheat. All right. He did not.
It'd be a pretty terrible way to try to cheat, because we can measure like just using the demo if you actually use SnapTap or not, like with very high degree of accuracy. So it's not a
not at all.
I mean, maybe he is the Cole Palmer of Counter-Strike in that case. He's just completely brain dead. But like, I'd say it's a genuine mistake, and like, it
is a genuine mistake.
Let's be honest, though. The biggest travesty of this is that it gifted NIP a win, and we then had to sit through them getting battered by Na'Vi. Because, without that first map being overturned, that series is just a 2-0. Like, that's just a 2-0
it is, because they win the second map. The Heroic win the second map.
So comfortably. And, like, map 3 is, Wrinkle wins map 3. That's pretty much it. And Wrinkle, he's been popping up left, right, and centre with just the occasional I'm going to win this map. He can't seem for the life of him to have like that great a series in most cases. Like he had like a 2-map series against FaZe a while ago that was good, but for the most part, he's just been very poor in a lot of maps. But then just has these pop-offs where like, Vertigo, he goes 24-10, 14-7 just on T side. Like from a guy who's hard AWPing, like he's actually going to take the AWP every time he can and go find fights and go find frags. Yeah, he was pretty amazing. Great Vertigo performance, but kind of tilting if you're heroic and if you don't want to watch Na'Vi NIP play a bunch of games, because now we have to watch more of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's an unfortunate incident. I think a lot of people were also questioning why did he have it turned on in the first place, and I think the interesting reasoning is that apparently when you plug the device into a new computer, which you haven't had it plugged into before, it actually defaults to turned on, despite the fact that Razer say that by default it is always off. So that seems to be a bug. But some other people also said the same thing, that like if you factory reset your PC, as some people actually do regularly for performance reasons, but if you do that, Razer's SnapTap just gets turned on. If you have one of those keyboards which can do that, even if you didn't ask it to. And Razer literally say by default this is off. That's what it says on their website. So this seems to be a bug, and Tessus got called out. Somebody was going to get, like, whether it is a bug or not, somebody was going to have SnapTap accidentally turned on at some point. That's just what was going to happen, because unlike a cheat, which you are doing something wrong by having it installed in the first place, this is just a keyboard, which you can use if you prefer that keyboard. I mean, Tessus probably does. Otherwise, he literally wouldn't bring it. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Somebody was gonna have to be victim of it, and unfortunately, it means NIP get away with a win they shouldn't have had.
Yeah, that's it pretty much. I mean, hopefully it doesn't pop up again. Like, it'd be kind of annoying if it started fucking with more match results. Assuming it's genuinely a bug and not players trying to be cheeky or stupid. So no. Yeah, next time, Tessus, check him PC yourself and get that shit turned off.
Check you PC.
Yeah, check you PC, man. This is not normally, so none of that, please. None of that. All right, let's move on to the Eternal Shuffle, because I think that wraps up kind of the news and stuff. There's not been that much news this week. Like,
there's been one more thing, but I don't think we should talk about it.
Yeah, I decided not to include that on the docket. Just because if I'm not going to share tweets about it, I'm not just going to randomly talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get involved in it at all. So no, that...
You know what it is. You know what it is.
Come on, we all know. Like, we talked about French CS, come on. But let's talk about the Eternal Shuffle. So I was about to make such a terrible joke. MIBR Lucasi rumor. We've kind of talked about this to death. Just in the build up to this, so we can kind of just say, yeah, that's in the Eternal Shuffle. I've put it as a rumor question mark because I wasn't sure like how confirmed it was. I was hoping you to jump in on like how solid that actually is.
I haven't actually. Hang on, Lucasi. I'm about to look up the report to see if there's like a money figure. Look, he was already tied to a lot of different teams. He's been tied to a lot of different teams since he signed for Fluxo, but they they hog him because they paid a lot of money for him. He was there when they founded the team, and like they paid $300,000 to get him. They probably want to recoup a lot of that money, considering Fluxo have done basically fuck all so far. But let me see. I think Fluxo did Fluxo end up signing Kai? I forget about this. No,
I don't follow Brazilian CS below that level because why?
They were close to signing Kai from Furia, but I don't think that's happened. Anyway, MIBR are in quote unquote advanced talks with Lucasi, so it's not finalized. I don't actually know anything about this. Oh yeah, here we go. They wanted to buy him in May 2023, but the player rejected the deal, despite MIBR were ready to pay $280,000. But the player rejected it and decided to stay with Fluxo. That would have been about a little over half a year since they made last fall finals, and I think they have made at least one major. There are Fluxo stickers in the game. Yeah, I think he was set up to play the Paris major at that point. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Now they're nowhere. So now it actually makes sense for him to leave, and they're apparently in advanced talks. Now I don't actually know anything about this. It is a Dust2BR report, so I don't actually know any of the details. But something I do know happens sometimes, and I'm not saying this is what happens. Sometimes a deal is done, but because of the reason that we can't or don't want to say about it in the leak, we say it's close. So this is something.
Right.
This is something I probably can't say now. When we did our report about Wildcard with Fuzi and Susp, that was a done deal. I want to say it was a done deal a couple of weeks or maybe even a month or two before it was actually announced. By the time we leaked it, we were pretty sure it was done. But in the report, we still wrote that it's close to happening, because it's like it was a bit more dancing around it, and like we knew something could still change last minute. So not that I was part of any of that reporting. I literally just wrote the article. Everybody else did the facts checking.
Right.
But yeah, I say we, but it was other people. Anyway, could be what's happening, and maybe it's a done deal. I think something interesting though is that they have a roster lock coming up because MIBR were invited to the RMR, and interestingly, despite this roster being invited, this exact 5, they are actually allowed to make changes, non-core changes to the team before September something. So I think if it's going to happen, it's going to have to happen soon. Otherwise, It's not happening for another 3 months.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out. We'll see, especially who he comes in for. I'm going to put my bet on Exit right now, but never know. We'll find out.
That's another Dust2 US headline coming in. Exits the MIBR. I'm going to send that to Ryan right now, actually. That's funny as fuck.
I'm sure he can think of exits himself.
No. I'm actually the one who comes up with all of those headlines, just so you know.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
That joke connoisseur you are. But yeah, let's go on the next one. VP have cut Zoma and have added Pasha Noi as their coach, at least. I'm not sure if it's stand-in capacity or what. I don't read articles. But yeah, he's now there. A bit of a weird move, already making a change. It's just.
Did you see the clip?
I mean the clip where everyone seems to just be ignoring /
yeah
with Zoma. Yeah, I've not watched it. I've heard people talk about it. I think it's a bit weird.
It's quite funny.
He just flops.
I think they brought him in after kicking Dustin, and we know VP have made very corporate hires in the past. We all remember Chiron.
Yes.
But it's honestly sad, but it's also quite funny because Zoma is there like, yes guys, or like it's a round loss basically. It's a round loss, and the first clip is like he wants a fist bump as coaches do after a round loss, as all players do, and Electronic just takes his headset off and just looks at him and just like talks to him, and he's like, come on, fist bump, and then like he tries to fist bump Fame or whoever is sitting next to him, and Fame is just like this, and then in the second clip they actually film it like front on. And James is just like at his PC like this, and like Zoma, he wants a high five. He puts his hand out. He wants a high five. And then, and then he's just like, come on, high five me. And James is just like, he's just like, who's this guy? Who's this guy trying to high five me? It's hilarious. I wonder if this is just that, they wanted to get rid of Dastan. They didn't actually want to get rid of Dastan. When I say they, I mean James and the guys. And they got Zoma because he had a good rep. He had just done a pretty good job with 9 Pandas. And now the teams have finally strong-armed the org into kick him. So now they have Passionoid for a while. I think Passionoid was already involved in some capacity. I don't know how, but I also don't read articles.
Yeah. Where's the official?
I do. That's a joke.
He's previously worked with the team as an analyst. Is the line from their press release. So yes, he has been involved with the team before. Maybe it was temporarily not, but now they've got him as a head coach. So potentially
he was
the
already
players
there,
are more familiar with him. They already know him. They probably, hopefully, if this will work better for them. No offense, guys. I'm not sure endlessly rotating coaches is going to magically fix your problems, but I wish you the best, is all I'm going to say at that point. Next, Monty have cut LMBT, and they've brought in Norbrot. Am I going crazy? Isn't that what's happening?
Navrot was already assistant coach, but a lot of when they added all of the polls, people were already like, LMBT is sweating right now because Navrot is just sitting there, like he's waiting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is
I don't know what
Monty
nature
are
of this
just
is.
trying to rebuild 9, aren't they? Like,
yeah,
it feels a bit weird.
3 out of 6 pieces who went to the major as 9, including Navrot, are here now. And then there's also Disha and
Krasnow and Demka.
Krasnal. Yeah, of course. I was thinking who's the other Pole. Demka, I don't. People were talking about the fact that he speaks a little bit of Polish and was actively learning more. So I think he might be safe. It might just be an improved 9.
He might be safe. Monty might try to fucking get worse by cutting Demka for a random Polish rifler. Phew. Good thing he's learning a little bit of Polish.
That would be a funny Dr. Duck's diagnosis. Which Pole would you put in place with Demka? And I would not know who to pick.
How would you make this team not get worse? I can't, because it's Demka and he's really fucking good.
I'd get Chewy.
Yeah, okay, I guess. I guess if you just take the IGL ship off of Hades.
Get wrecked libtard.
I can't argue with those facts and logic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting move. Kind of everyone seems to have seen it coming, even if it was just a meme initially of like, "Ooh, going full Polish." Yeah, they basically are at this rate, which I don't really agree with, but it's their fucking funeral, not mine.
I mean, in fairness, it probably does help to have a Polish coach when you have a Polish majority roster. Like, to be fair.
Yeah, it's just, if you want to have a successful team that makes majors and plays at tier 1, I'm not sure full Polish was the best way to go, but if they can keep Demka, they might be all right. Yes, next, Milan XT have let you go, I believe.
I think he chose not to renew his contract, or chose to terminate his contract or whatever. But either way,
his contract was coming to an end, and he decided to explore his options as a free agent. That's the official line from him. So he's going into free agency rather than continuing on Milan XT. And this is, I bring this up every now and then, but this is a timelines type of thing. Like, Milan XT are so young. Like, they're really fucking young. Like, they got, Chrism was, 17? It's a bit weird he's gone, but like PR's also super young. The other 2 guys that are left are Syra, who's 17, and Bermalov, who's also 17. Like, these guys are going to be in academy for a while. Like, they're looking for 2 players. Currently have Tobiz like standing in, who's their coach, as well as probably another stand-in whilst they figure out their last player. So no, they are a very long-term project, is Milan XT. Probably gearing up to replace Yimfat and Zershin when FaZe eventually come knocking or something stupid like that. So they're a very long-term project. The timeline just doesn't make sense for Nechu to stick around. He's 19. He's from he's got options in France, technically, at a slightly high level. He's got probably a few options internationally if he gets lucky, at, again, a slightly higher level. So I think this is fair enough for Nechu. Milan XT probably aren't, pissing themselves in terror that they've let go of the next great player. Like, he wasn't like that kind of prodigy, but he was just a solid piece for them. They'll have to replace him, probably with another child, knowing Milan XT.
He's had high praise from Apex, no less, but also
Yeah, whoop-de-doo. We've seen the HLTV top 20s every time they pick someone. It's like, oh, this guy's from a country and he's young. A lot of the time, it's just nonsense. So.
The yeah, but also I think probably Maus have kept him on good terms, so even if they aren't kicking him themselves, they can probably get him back. If he turns out to be the next Zaiwu, then they probably have first dibs.
I'm telling you that now.
If he turns out to be an amazing player, they probably have first dibs if they feel that they need him. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a solid pack rifler. He's a solid pack rifler. That's about all I can really give as praise. Nothing much more. Hopefully he finds himself a good tier 2 team to be a positive contributing piece. I'm just going to throw this out there right now. I think he should join Revenant.
Good.
Because like, instead of having Tizian, I'd rather have this guy. Like,
good.
Easily. Like, much easily. Revenant, they need solid upgrades. They need consistency on the roster. You know, they just need to make that move final. So, hopefully, if he ends up anywhere, you know, maybe the MBK connection can help. Like, MBK Navera, French-speaking, he's French. Put 2 and 2 together. Maybe that'll help. Do it. Yes, put do and do together. Right, prospect of the week.
Get 4.
Prospect of the week. This is going to be an interesting one, because for me, as usual, I've had to wrestle with the problem of I can't just talk about Xiphon every week. Because every week he's going to have, like, in the last month and a half, he's basically every week had like a 1.3 to 1.4 rating and been the only part of TSM worth giving a shit about. A-Core, I'm looking at you. Holy fuck, buddy, what has happened? Like, you've gone right down the shitter. So I've decided to go with... I feel like I've got a lot of time to kill before I have to go to the airport tonight. Because I'm leaving my flat at like 3:30 in the morning, so I think I'm just going to stay up and make a stupid video. If the aliens come to Earth and steal Donk, or like take his powers in a very Space Jam-esque way, Kyosuke might be able to fill those shoes. Like, that's high fucking praise. This kid is bonkers on Spirit Academy. Like, it's obnoxious that Spirit just have kind of Donk 2.0, like Donk Jr. already on the roster, but let me just take you through some numbers, just for you guys who like numbers. I mean, I've got that kind of urge in me. I love the numbers too. This week so far, he is putting up a HLTV rating 2.0 of 1.55. Whatever. A KPR 1.03. You know, he's multi-killing in 26% of rounds. And sure, they aren't playing crazy good teams, but they're not playing academies mostly. Like, they did play Young Ninjas, stomped them. They played Nexus, they played Ruby, they played Incilio. This is an Incilio roster who, by the way, can pick up wins against fucking anyone. They're just a group of CIS, like, journeymen at this point. But they are able to have some upset wins. Like, they beat Permitter, beat Team Space. They've beaten Chiang and Cal. Like, they've picked up wins that seem beyond their level. But Kyosuke, yeah, beat them as well. This kid is the truth. I've watched 3 of his demos just today. I had better things to do, but I just felt so compelled to give you exactly the right scoop. And this kid is lethal. He's been amazing with every weapon that I've seen him pick up. Really is a scary, scary talent. So yeah, Kyosuke, absolute monster, 16 years old. How does Spirit keep doing this?
Yeah, I've seen him in the stats sheets. I was sort of wondering when the next Spirit Academy was going to happen, because the last generation is all exhausted. Just to remind you who was on that team, because everybody on that team has now moved on to greener pastures, so to speak. Actually, even that was the second to last team, so to speak. It was Zontex and Donk obviously moved up into the main team. Art Frost did for a while. He's now on Paravision. Baz hung around for a bit and also stuck around for the next roster, which also had Mayonnaise and Alpha, both of which are now also on better teams. Mayonnaise, yep. Dude, his name is actually just mayonnaise in Russian. That is what it is. Mayonnaise.
I looked it up. It's the consonants are in different places.
Manjojes.
Yeah, it's actually the other way around. I can't seem to find him by typing his name. I never remember how it's spelled. But yeah, it's written Magnojes, but it's actually May with a J, then Nez. It's like mayonnaise, like in Russian too.
Mayonnaise. All right.
But yes, it's basically mayonnaise. I've called him mayonnaise for the longest time.
I think that is the Russian word for mayonnaise. Is what I mean. I think
Google Translate said it wasn't.
Mayonnaise. Okay. All right then. Anyway.
Yeah.
Noti Neki also exists. I think I saw Noti Neki the other week. Yeah, he's on Cybershock. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
he's
anyway.
playing decently on Cybershock as well.
Yeah. What is Baz doing? Where did he go? Is he still on the Spread Academy? No, he has no team.
Yeah, sorry. Everyone on the recording just heard me listen to Google Translate say mayonnaise in Russian, just for my own edification.
Mayonnaise. Yep. All right. We have a new generation. It is Robo, Sipho, Alkaren, Mokujin.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. This guy looks like out of Dragon Force. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's got sick hair.
Yeah, and then we have Kyosuke, who is...
So just actually to throw this out there, Alkaren also looks really good, and Mokujin actually does kind of look really good too. Like, Mokujin's that kind of, like, not Star Roles player who I just see win rounds just magically sometimes when I'm watching the demos. I'm like, how did they win this round? And I go back like 5-10 seconds of the demo and I just see Mokujin just get a triple kill they had no fucking right getting, you know, that sort of thing. He's that player on this team.
Yeah, they've only played a couple of events since they came together. They played a couple of CCT things. They played 2 seasons of Advanced. They're currently in Advanced playoffs. But they've done very good. They've done very, very good. So far in the Advanced playoffs, they've only played...
They've played 2 matches.
They've only played against Ruby, but they're pretty much all of them are top rated in the entire event so far. So they had... Yeah. Actually, no, it was just Kyosuke. But yeah, anyway. Good job. This is the next Spirit Academy generation, which is also going to bang. Bonkers. He has 30% openings on both sides of the map.
He's bonkers. I'm telling you, he's bonkers. He plays like all the big like brawly spots, and he just hits shots. I mean, it's weird. I'm just gonna take a little tangent here into his playstyle. So you'll see him like be like the solo outside player, contact. Then they throw the smokes as a group, get everyone down, and then stop. Let him take contact again through secret, and then finally all spill out into the bomb site as a big like gang up. It's not the most complicated system. He's not the most solo lurk type of outside player. For example, Nuke. I've watched a lot of Nuke today, but it is just really fun to watch them play, and he is nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, crazy. I haven't seen him play yet. I want to see. I might check out their next Advanced game, to be honest.
Dude, you should. You just should.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've gone for
your interesting pick.
Yeah, I've gone for a very interesting pick. Not at all a repeat. I've gone for all of Sangle. But mostly I want to talk about LNC. I've already talked about LNC. I don't have a lot to repeat about LNC. He's a young IGL. He is another one of those. He's in the pack with like Sui and ZTR, and he's starting to get up there with all the LAN events that they managed to qualify to, and you know he's going to build some tenure in this level of play, even if it is with low-rated teams. He has been there with an IP before, not in that capacity, but yeah, he's been there. He has a great coach behind him. I did just realize that kind of makes him about as valid as a prospect as NPL is, so I apologize for the first question of this Q&A. So I might have been incorrect, but
no, there's no way.
All right. I also want to talk about everybody else. I talk about Youngster quite a lot. It is mostly just because I think he's a really cool guy. I think he's a very nice guy, and I think he's a very good player. And I've said before on this show, I really like people who sort of, there's something really interesting to me about Counter-Strike players who come out of nowhere. Like they go from nothing to very, very, very good in a short amount of time. Donk is one of them. Like Donk is one of them. Those really interesting pieces who come out of absolutely nowhere in Siberia, and less than a year later, they're Katowice champions. And Youngster isn't Donk, but he is someone who came from like the top tier of Norway, like holding his own in the top tier of Norway, and less than a year later, he's playing ESL Pro League, beating FaZe, with the best rating on a 13-2 map against FaZe. Like that's just kind of unreal. Like that's sort of rapid development. He's 19 still, very good player. One of the better players in Sweden, I would say, probably of this year, to be honest. Because of the roles he plays and how well he plays them. It's hard to stack him up to anyone else on either of the Swedish teams because they are all fucking failing. But yeah, then we have Jota and Xfloud, Turkish duo, amazing players, both of them in their own right. Xfloud on sort of the redemption arc after Eternal Fire and whatever else. He sort of came. He's been screwed over quite a bit. I feel like I don't think he got screwed over in Eternal Fire. He had a good run there, and like he had a fair shot, and then eventually got replaced. But before that, some of you might remember he was set to join Eternal Fire much earlier, but he got stuck in the fucking Titans project on a long ass contract with Gorillas, and then was immediately benched and couldn't get out of that contract. So that's a shame for him. But he's on the resurgence. He's doing very well. And then Jota, of course, Eternal Fire Academy player. Previously was always very high up on the FPL leaderboards. I remember pretty much every week he was leading. He has probably won it. I don't know. But I noticed him on the FPL leaderboard before I noticed him outside of like Eternal Fire Academy, because he was there in We Play. They came last every time, but you know they played a decent game, him and Wicadia, and then he was just stomping FPL, and now he's here. So yeah, he is putting in the statistical. He is the big stats guy. He is. I think Sammy deserves a shout as well. In online play, he was very solid. He is the one piece of this team that I probably would upgrade, which but it's not like don't fix what isn't broken. If it works, then you know keep going. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna say fuck yeah, Sangal. My new favorite team. It's first time in a while I was shouting at my computer monitor over a Counter-Strike game I was really excited about. That was the FaZe game, which felt really good. They are my new favorite team, and I want the jersey, and I'm gonna pester Sangal until they let me have a jersey. Anyway,
it's a pretty good jersey. I mean, I already talked to you. I sent you the Photoshop of like how I would have changed the jersey, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah,
like it's still pretty cool. Yeah, no, Xfloud, I think. Not so much that he got his chance and disappointed on Eternal Fire. More that Eternal Fire is the period he's there is the period they decided to just fuck around. Like,
yeah,
he was in and out of the roster 3 separate times. It was an absolute clusterfuck, and I don't think it was conducive to good Counter-Strike.
No, that's probably.
But then yeah, he pretty much instantly goes to Project G as their best player, joins this team, becomes their like volume fragger, like opening guy. And yeah, no, I've been a fan of his play on Sangal. Yeah, I've talked about Jota, you know, strengths, his weaknesses in this episode extensively. Not going to rehash it. Yeah, very interested in Linus too. Youngster, I think you sometimes oversold him on this show. That's been my one complaint. But aside from that, I can't deny
he's not the best thing since sliced bread. Like I'm not saying this guy is he's not perfecto in terms of anchor capabilities. But he is someone who can 2021 perfecto. That's what I mean by that. But he is he's a very, very solid player, and I think he could like in the roles he plays and the way he plays them. I think he absolutely holds his own with other teams at this tier. And I think Sangal's success online and now in ESL Pro League as well, they show that like they are solid. I
wasn't going to start ripping on him. I do think he's a decent enough player. Just to. The caveat is always you picking him prospect of the week when Xfloud's dropping like, you know, an extra 30 fucking kills to get them there to actually win series.
Yeah, you got that eye for support players.
If you want to give yourself that credit, go nuts. I certainly won't. So, no, I think this is a cool roster. Some decent young players. A team I'll obviously keep on following. But all in all, that wraps up the show. Yeah, I'm just going to wrap it up there. But all right. If you made it this far, because it's been an hour, 28 minutes and 24 seconds, you're my hero. Yeah, leave a comment telling us why we're wrong, because, you know, sometimes that's fun, and I like interaction because it gets more views. Leave a like if you enjoyed, sub if you want to see more, become a member if you want to get even more, like just basically get access to my premium second channel that kind of exists now.
Follow me on Twitter, because I think I can overtake you on Twitter followers.
Yeah, but I don't work for anyone, and I don't do promos, so I'm very happy with my Twitter account. Let's put it that way. Yeah, no. That's it. We'll see you in the next one, which will be actually recorded on a Sunday, not a Friday night. Hence why this one, I think, went slightly further off the rails. Usually Sunday morning, wake up pretty, like, yeah, groggy. It's our wake-up show. I've been at it all fucking day. So that's why shit's gone kind of off the rails, a bit loopy at moments. I'm gonna make you hold that pose for as long as I damn want. What else
I
can I
just
randomly
realized you
talk
said that
about?
the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Last episode I told you I would, so now I'm gonna do it. So just to talk about my weekend coming up, I'm going off to Milan. It's going to be really interesting. Going to the opera Saturday night. I had to buy a suit just for that because I didn't have a suit and there's a dress
You
code.
didn't have a fucking suit.
Well, my last suit I bought was for school because I was, dress code at school. And since then, I've gotten 10 kilos bulkier in the chest mostly and in the thighs. Because
I get it.
Someone's got to hit the gym in this family. And so it's me. So no, I didn't fit in my suit, so I had to buy a new one because there's a very strict dress code at the opera in Milan. It's going to be very fun. I'm sure I'm going to eat a lot of pasta, a lot of like rich, slow-cooked meats. Yeah. Gonna have a lovely time, and I can finally spend those hundreds of euros in cash that I have lying around. Thank you, Grandma and Granddad, for always giving me cash euros that I can't spend.
Cash in euros.
They just give me like cash euros for years and years, and they've just been collecting in my bedside table. And I'm just gonna whip them all out, take them to Milan with me.
Dude, all of fucking Milan is gonna be cashless. It's gonna be hilarious.
If
just
it is,
the irony.
whatever, I've got a card, but like I'm pretty sure Italy is still a very cash dependent country. Last I checked,
Might
it
be.
was. It was when I was in Rome.
It's probably a
couple
4x
years
either
ago.
way, yeah.
But no, it's hilarious to just like finally that bedside table, just to give you the rundown, contains like 4 things: a Game Boy, like I'm talking 500 euros in cash, a knife, and condoms. Like that's it. That's what's in my bedside table. It's the most random shit, but I'm gonna try and spend all that and have a great time. Yeah, I think I'll end it here. All right, that's it. We'll see you next Sunday.